So which team, Joe Buck, that you've seen with your own two eyes, do you think is the most impressive, best yet, so far through 7 weeks?
Well, I mean, I don't know how you can't. I haven't seen with my own two eyes until tomorrow night, Arizona.
Right.
So I'm anxious to see that. But I think the Rams and what they can do offensively, and with McVay and Stafford, as long as he stays healthy. Cup, I mean, just having a world-beating kind of a year, leading the league in catches and receiving yards and touchdowns. I mean, I don't know that he gets the attention that he deserves, because he just kind of goes about his business. But I think those are the top two teams in their division and in the NFC. And Dallas looks really good. You know, they look different. They're winning games that they didn't typically win or haven't been winning over, I mean, many, many years. Like the game they beat the Chargers, where it was, you know, on the road, they just lost to Tampa Bay, and then they end up getting down the field, and they end up with a long field goal that they make and win and get out of town, and they're beating teams they should beat. I'm anxious to see how the calf is for Dak Prescott, and if that's going to hamper him at all going forward. But I think those are the three best teams that I've seen in person, and Cincinnati looks for real, and good for them, because Burrow's awesome and Chase is as good as we've seen come into the league in a long time.
You had the Bucks and the Rams, right? Too? Did you guys do that one?
Yeah, I'm not even. Shame on me, because I didn't even bring up Tampa Bay.
No, but I mean, you watched them in their one loss this year, but I mean, Brady, man, that's just the only two words. That's all I've got to say. It's just the only. It's no question. Just Brady, man. There's no.
It's just unbelievable, and they and he make it look so easy. And I think Todd Bowles. You know, I know that it didn't work out well in New York with the Jets, but I just think he's a head coach candidate that needs another chance. He is so good. And if there's a single person other than Brady that won that Super Bowl over Kansas City, it was Todd Bowles in my mind. And now he's doing it. Maybe they don't jump to my mind because of all the injuries defensively in their secondary, but it's special to watch this, and it's fun for us having, you know, had Brady in the AFC for so long. We only did a handful of his games. And now to see him on a more regular basis, he could not be cooler on the phone and more open and relaxed. And I just think he's having fun at a level he's never had in the NFL in his incredible career. And fun and that talent and that drive is a pretty scary combination for everybody else.
What's it like having a front row seat to a conversation between Brady and Aikman, where, you know, Aikman's got 3, which is a remarkable number, and Brady's now doubled that up +1. And the amount of experience, championship experience, Hall of Fame experience, I'd love to just get a glimpse of what that's like.
Yeah, and it's fun. To answer your question, it's enjoyable for me because both guys are really honest. Tom told us all, you know, we kind of rode that roller coaster with him because we had them week 1 last year to see where they went from week 1 to winning the Super Bowl. You know, we had him in week 1, then we had him in the NFC Championship game, and the ease and the comfort in that system and how he and Arians came together was just a thing of beauty. And now they're so far ahead of where they were last year. Brady told us before the Rams game that there were times last year where plays would come in and he didn't know what he was supposed to do. And it's just, that's because he was a new player in a new system with, you know, that weird off season and virtual meetings. And now, and he really praises Leftwich too. He thinks Byron Leftwich is fantastic. And he says the two of them are seeing the game the same way now. And that should be scary for the opposition. I just marvel at him, and it's hard to do a game and not just go on and on and on about how great he is. But if there's anybody that deserves that kind of praise on national TV, it's Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, we don't see anything like it. I guess, bring it all full circle here with the two endeavors that you're undertaking this week. I mean, what's the comparison? I know they're totally different sports. I mean, you see Pujols, right, still raking left-handed pitchers, but he would be in like next year, Albert, if he wants to keep playing and do it. Well, like what, an American League platoon role at first or DH or something like. I mean, Brady is at 44 years in a contact sport. It's just He's as good as he's ever
thing.
been. I don't know if we could even compare it at all.
That's the thing. I mean, that's like, last year with the total touchdowns that he had by the end of the year, including the postseason, it's basically, he shot his age. And you do that in golf, and everybody freaks out. But in golf, people aren't trying to take your head off. So, it's just unbelievable. And I believe him when he says he believes he could play till he's 50 or longer than that. And it's just the family dynamic that would probably put an end to it. I mean, he takes care of himself. He's driven. I think the comparison, and, you being a Yankee fan, I just, as far as sustained excellence, the look in the eye, the guy that wants the ball in his hands with the game on the line, it's Jeter. I just haven't seen anybody in my time in baseball doing 24 World Series now. And I don't know analytically what the numbers would have said, and that's where analytics breaks down a little bit for me. If somebody says, okay, well, at the end of his career, analytically, statistically, he wasn't a great shortstop. Well, if the bases are loaded 2 out and they're leading by a run, who do you think you want the ball hit to?
Right.
The guy who wants it. And that was Jeter, and that's Tom Brady. But Brady's in a class by himself, period.
Well said, Joe, as always. Although, I got to tell you, I showed my kids Happy Gilmore for the first time. They would have a problem with saying no one wants to take your head off in golf. They would see that.
Yeah, well, Barker comes up,
I can tell you,
throwing lefts. I didn't know Barker was left-handed. Maybe it was that, but.
Joe, I got to tell you, it was kind of a wild moment, sad moment, all at the same time, but enjoyable moment. Susie and I had to pause that scene and explain to the children who Bob Barker was and why this was particularly funny. It was.
But did you take the next step and say that, back when we were kids,
yes,
Bob Barker was just a staple on our TV, and one day he said, "You know what? I'm showing up Greg," and it was just crazy. It was mind blowing to me. Like what? Boy, that was a rough weekend.
It was.
Yeah, but he was, one of the best. He's on the Mount Rushmore. Everybody wants to do Mount Rushmore. He's on the Mount Rushmore of game show hosts.
Oh my gosh! Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.